Hello and welcome to Follow Everton. This is just a quick reaction for half time. So nil-nil somehow. We were talking in the pre-match. We were expecting goals, goals, goals. We really should have gotten a few of them. We have Abdoulaye Doucouré. If he kept himself on side, it was an excellent goal, excellent cross from James Garner. But at the same time, are we a lucky bunch? We have the headed back pass. We were talking about Pickford needing to be on point today. He has been the man of the match for me by a country mile. He headed it back. What's his name again? Michael Keane tried to head back to the keeper. It was a terrible back pass. It was nearly a 1-0 chance early, but Pickford was quick off his line. And then, of course, we have it was a who did that cross? It was on their left side. It was nicked off the head of Tonali to the back post of Bruno Guimaraes. He struck it. It beat Pickford. And when you look at the replay, you see Illiman and Jai basically say, "I didn't see the ball," and it went off the inside of his calf and spun out of play. It could easily have been another back post disaster for Everton and us down 1-0. But no, lucky for us at this point, we've skipped. We've avoided it. Two chances, no goals. And then comes the most wild one of the entire first half. A captain getting a little bit too excited. He's wrestling with Lissandro Tonali or Sandro Tonali, and you can tell they're both holding the jerseys. And he gets thrown or throws him over. Clearly, wrestling in this kind of way is pretty common, but it was so egregious and obvious that Tarkovsky just threw him to the ground. And when it comes to VAR, there was no way that wasn't going to be looked at, especially Everton's track record of losing VAR decisions. But irrespective, I think everyone on our group chat thought the same thing. It did look to be offside. Oh, sorry, it did look to be a foul, and I kind of thought about it, listened to the commentators, saying it was definitely a foul. I think that was just egregious error and getting stuck in at the moment. And guess what? We got really lucky. We have Craig Pawson. He was always going to give it, but in all honesty, any good referee, in my view, gives that away or gives that as a penalty. And we thought the worst was to come. Anthony Gordon, but he was aiming at the Gladys Street end, and I think Gladys Street spooked him a bit. The goal he got against Man City last week, it wasn't in the top corner, it wasn't in the bottom corner, it wasn't struck with a lot of conviction. The keeper went the wrong way. This time, Pickford, he probably had an excellent water bottle projection. He went to his left. He dove too far. He over saved. He jumped past the save, and he got it, but he got it with his legs, and it went out. And you can see Anthony Gordon's emotions. He was basically taken over at that moment. So guess what? Pickford, man of the match by far, no doubt. And to Jeremy Lamb's point, and I think I heard a stat on this during the coverage. The last 7 matches Pawson has refereed, Everton has lost all 7. And to David B's point, absolutely he should know better than this. But that's one of these guys that loves to get in a physical altercation. And I think more broadly, though, yes, these were some lucky moments for us. But I've really enjoyed this first half. It has been sloppy. We've hardly been able to hold the ball for more than about 4 passes. It's arguably quite similar for Newcastle. But in terms of the general statistics, and I might bring some up here, there's no surprise that there's about 3 times the amount of passes Newcastle have to Everton. But we like it that way. We play it that way. And but for the most part, they're looking dangerous, but they haven't broken through. We play narrow, and we have to have these emergency recoveries if they play off our back post. James Garner's looked okay. Ashley Young surprisingly hasn't been as tested as I thought he would, but I feel that part of that is because Anthony Gordon isn't really sure how to time his runs, being the number 9 rather than being one of the wide forwards playing off Isak, which is helping us. And the other thing that on the ball, Dwight McNeil has not done enough. But what I think, and I was asking for it prior to the start of this match, we wanted to see what are we going to do with Bruno Guimaraes. And we talk about out of possession. Do we play 4-4-2? Do we press? The most important thing is at 4-4-1-1, where Dwight McNeil, your job is to annoy Bruno a little bit. So Bruno is getting a lot of attention from McNeil, which is basically taking a lot of McNeil's creativity away, and he's mostly just focused on following Bruno, which we'll see as this match goes on if that works or continues to work. But honestly, I think Dwight McNeil's creativity is a bit stunted at the moment. Our way in on goal, DCL had a couple opportunities, but as we know, he isn't excellent on one-on-ones, but he was doing some really creative runs in the first half, and he cut in and had one strike on goal. A couple of these offside moments. Doucouré has been, outside of that goal, he's there and battling. Similar for Mangala, keeping possession, and similar for Jack Harrison. And I think Njai, to me, is the one that's really taking players on, takes on one, takes on two, but quite often he just seems overwhelmed in there. So, and to Duggan's point, I'm not going to put it on just with the asterisks and everything else, but yeah, Craig Pawson is in particular for Anthony Gordon. Anytime there's contact, he has won every single time he's gone to ground. It's like he would only go to ground if there was a foul, right? He wouldn't dive because he's a prima donna. Absolutely, he will. But the other thing is probably trying to protect Gordon in this scenario, but a referee shouldn't be protecting. He should be playing it by the book. But I think I've seen Michael Keane there at the end of that first half going through and taking out his legs a few times. But we get really tired watching Gordon roll around. He did it for us, and he kind of went with it because, well, he's part of your team. But he's still doing that now, and it's quite frustrating to watch, honestly. But what are you going to do? I'm going to cut the volume off. Sorry there. So to Jeremy's point, the two-handed shove McNeil to the ground, then McNeil gets a yellow for taking him out because Pawson can't do his job. From what I remember, it was, and maybe that I have to look at that one back, Jeremy. It looked like they were both kind of battling. It was 50-50, relatively speaking. And McNeil clipped his calf while they were battling. Then he went up. Because he got up again and then kind of went studs up on him, it kind of made sense, even if it was like, it was close. But from when I watched that live, I see why they gave a yellow, because it looked like he just dove in, studs up, and got him. But I think the only frustration, there's a couple frustrations. We don't want any of our players on yellow cards, but if McNeil's job is to harangue, hover, and harass Bruno, now that he's on a yellow card, he has to restrain himself a little bit, and that does have an impact. Will he have to play reserved a little bit like a fullback? Are they willing to commit to all the challenges? Right now, we have a back four that don't have a booking. So we have a little bit of a depth, like everyone can be relatively full on, go into tackles, not have to pull back. It was really interesting seeing by the end there, everyone was really up for this match. It was a really intense feeling at the ground too, here in the Raw, which is, I miss that feeling. You can see that both teams are up for this. It's scrappy. When Michael Keane is committing to tackles, we're in for a good time instead of him being a little bit around the edges. So, are there any other? I'm going to go through some of the comments right here. Curious to anything in particular the from you guys who have watched the match. We have 166 watching this live. Yeah, add anything in the comments that stood out to you. I think, to me, I thought Newcastle, yes, they're dominating the midfield, but we always kind of let teams do that. I expected that they would overrun us more than they have, but I think it might be a matter of time because we have just enough. We're just getting by. But at the same time, I'm not sure, can we hold on out of possession on a match like this? I think we really have to be keeping an eye on subs. If you really want McNeil playing on Bruno the entire time, I think he's got about 15 minutes in the tank, and then what we need to do is bring on someone else. Maybe you bring Abdoulaye Doucouré up because he's Mr. Handsy. He chases. He'll if he's got the legs on him, we bring in Doucouré into the number 10 position just to be in the face of Bruno. and we bring on the likes of Idrissa Gana Gueye for that second half. But we were getting ran over, to his point, but like at the same time, they didn't. The chances that they did get a lot of the time were like back post opportunities and some of the set plays. Um, let's see. Did you see the Trippier feigning injury from DCL high boot? Yeah, I did see that. I think it's tricky on those because I have a scar in my head from going for a header. I'm not that tall, and someone basically got a scar in me. But in my view, the DCL has every right to go for this one. He got the ball first. Trippier came in second. So if you're second to the ball, is it really a high boot? And it wasn't studs up or anything. It was like a little toe. So I'm not really sure that should have been a foul, but at the same time, there's just so many soft free kicks that are just normalized at this point. I'm watching back. I've got my iPad on the side here, watching the penalty back. You can see he's really trying to settle himself. Gordon coming in, and he kind of leans, pops his left hip out. So you could tell very quickly he was opening up to the bottom right corner. Because if you pop your hip, if you lean forward in your left, drop with your right, going across your body is a very unnatural motion. So he almost gave it away too early what he was doing. And I'm really enjoying this match. I know it's, David. Gordon is a bit of a clown, absolutely. I don't think any Evertonians could feel otherwise. We appreciate the passion, but he's one of those players you love him when he's for you, especially when he's fully committed. At the end of his tenure at Everton, he was one step out the door thinking he was bigger than the club. He's in his own way proven that he's quite the player at Newcastle, so in many respects credit to him. He's diving around the entire match, and it's really agitating. He's getting protected by the ref. But at the same time, hey, all we have to do is make sure that if he's committing like this, or if he's in his own head, as we've been watching that half, excellent. They don't have enough number 9 options. So if Gordon is starting to get in his own head and Michael Keane's beating him on tackles, that means we have one of these players that he gets emotionally hot-headed. Maybe he comes in a bit too hot and maybe hits Ashley Young, and Ashley Young does the Gordon action, rolls around on the ground, pulls an extra booking out, and Gordon gets sent off prematurely because he's getting all emotional coming back. Because a lot of these games, it's not as if Goodison's the only one that care about it. Gordon absolutely cares. He's emotional. He cares. You can tell, and that's why he missed that penalty. He scored against Man City last week on a match like this, right in front. Yeah, overprotected by the ref. Yeah, exactly right. So really, now and Michael Keane, he's absolute garbage. Now it's a mixed bag. He's more confident today than I've seen him, but he nearly gave away a goal in, what was it, the 5th, 6th minute. So for those that are tagging along, I kind of did a quick recap. That was a really scary moment in the first few minutes when the ball's bouncing. Keane does not have enough juice on that header, and basically it was a perfect little through ball for Gordon, and we needed Pickford, who in my opinion is a 9 out of 10 today. He's been the standout. Defensively, Garner's been fine, especially for an out-of-position right-back. Young hasn't been tested enough to say he's doing poor, but I think doing a job for a 6. Both Taki and Keane are like a 5. They're generally okay, but they're making stupid decisions, and they're getting very stuck in. So as long as they're committed and paying attention to the little things, we're okay. But we could easily be down. I've given away 3 goals in this first half. But Pickford is coming off his line now. He's coming in with 1 fist, 2 fist on crosses, and he's actually playing as that sweeper to try and chase down the likes of Gordon, who's going through the channels. Tonali, for them, we're looking at the midfield now. Joe Linton is looking up for this. Harvey Barnes, I think I expect more from him in this second half, but he's been looking dangerous. Jacob Murphy and that right side, I was expecting them to break us down. They haven't yet, but Murphy is, of course, always dangerous. But I think Tonali has been, maybe it's just a lack of match fitness after not playing in the Prem for so long. but I think the left side is looking more impactful for them than the right. And my prediction prior to the match was it was going to be the opposite. I thought the likes of Ashley Young being relatively flat of foot, let's say, taking on Gordon in that channel. But Gordon hasn't gone in that channel to make Ashley Young uncomfortable, and I think that's lucky for us. But I think that's it for me right now. I'm gonna go grab myself a 1:30 in the evening beverage as it's quite late here. But wanted to put down my thoughts, and I might be able to tag along with Chad post match, but it will be getting pretty late for me. But this is I'm really loving this match so far. It's that competitive, gritty edge that I miss in a lot of football matches. I don't always see Everton. I don't see the crowd always up for it the way we are right now. So really exciting to see, and hoping for a result in the second half. So up the Toffees.